Well, hey Gundam Maniacs, welcome to another episode of Gundam Explained. In this episode, we're going to be looking at the Robot Spirits Ka signature Penelope. So this is from Mobile Suit Gundam Hathaway. This is the Odysseus Gundam Plus, the fixed flight unit. This actually came out, I want to say, what was it, 2021, around the same time as the movie. Now, there were previous versions of this Robot Spirits Penelope. In fact, I have the first iteration that came out in 2015. It doesn't have any decals on it, but it comes with the real type marking decals to put on it, which I didn't. But they also came out with another version that has the decals on it. And then finally, this last version that's a lot more accurate to the movie. It's actually strange how similar these are, and they from the previous version, and there's minor differences. Check out my video when I reviewed the 2015 version. But before we get started, if you haven't, please subscribe. If you think it's a cool video, give it a like. Check the links in the description for ways you can support the channel. Check out our Discord. We have a lot of fun there. But let's get started. All right, so here we go. The Odysseus Gundam, the fixed flight unit. By the end of this video, I would have smashed this all together for the first time. And again, I do have the video of the previous version, the 2015 that I reviewed, and I have some shots of them side by side. And it's strange how there are just minor differences. Did they really go through the trouble of retooling a whole new version? Did this even sell that well? Do they sell that well where they have 3 versions of a Robot Spirits Ka signature? It seems like it must be a very popular collectible to get if they've made so many versions. And I actually found this at a local comic shop. I was surprised they had it, and they had it way cheaper than the price you get it for online. I was shocked, so I had to get it. So here's the Odysseus Gundam itself. Looks badass. I love the design of this. You know, this is like the ultimate form of a Gundam before in universe, you know, they figure out how to miniaturize that Minovsky flight system, get the smaller units that we get from like F91 and all that. So, I mean, this is gigantic. Next to a RX-78-2, the RX-72 looks like a dwarf. And so there we go. There's, yeah, the RX-78-2. So I guess this is canonically correct. I mean, my RX-78-2 is from, it's a high-grade origin, but these are typically in line with each other. You know, and looking at some of the articulation, some of the typical stuff we see from Robot Spirits, this has a lot of good moving around in the head. And unlike the previous version, this one you can actually move the V-fin, which I think is helpful so that when you drop it or you're transforming it, that can kind of get out of the way. Also, with the arms, it's very interesting, the articulation, because there's the bicep where you'd expect the bicep to be, but also down where the elbow is, there's also some other articulation there. You can see how this moves in like that. That's probably helpful for when holding the gun. I guess I'll get to that in a second. But also, you know, that kind of helps with posing to kind of get those cool, badass, like, poses that these Gundams can do. I mean, this really gives off a badass look. Up at the shoulders, yeah, we can kind of see where there is some posability there. It looks like it's actually kind of limited right here, more than I thought. I think it's actually, let's see. Ah, yeah, that's right. This pulls out. That will be for later when we do the transformation. But I guess you could do it if you wanted to also do some more kind of double-handing poses there. I guess that could be used for that to get a little bit more range. Let's see, moving down a little bit of the waist articulation, not too much. That's kind of the limit we see with these Robot Spirits sometimes, is around there. Actually, either it's so much where there's like a ton of gappage. That gave somewhat some gappage there in order to give that, but sometimes they just don't have anything at all. So, you know, what it's got here, I mean, there's barely any swivel there. Yeah, that's fine. We got the back skirt. This actually opens up and apart, probably for some more of the transformation for later. The skirt armor, we got the front, the sides, and then the legs. So we see there's a lot of articulation there. I mean, the articulation that you would come to expect with this stuff. We got the knee, does a good job. We got the little, I don't know, stabilizers for when it's standing still. That's a pretty neat, like, thing to add on. And really to add, this is designed by the designer that did, what was it called? Hades Project Zeorhymer. That's where we kind of get the more exaggerated, jagged lines. I mean, we're going to see that a whole lot with the fixed flight unit, where there's just random protuberances and edges just flying around everywhere. It doesn't really make any functional sense, yet it looks awesome. So yeah, looking at the Odysseus, that's what we have there. You know, a couple other things I will add. So these little like shield, beam saber holding things that go on the arm. This version actually has a little bit more to it. So there's an articulated piece here that moves forward. Also on the ends here, where there's some missiles inside, you can open all of that up. And that wasn't in the previous version, so it's cool that they added a little bit more of that sort of gimmicky detail to that. All right, and here is the rifle. It is a bit different than the one from the previous version. Again, the point of this one is to be more accurate to the anime. And I think personally, I'm just more interested in getting the anime accurate stuff. That's kind of how I take in Gundam, is through the animation. But it's pretty neat here because it's got a couple magazine options that are also newer to this, not in the old version. So you can kind of see where things kind of detach if you want them to. It does come with a bunch of extra spare magazines. And actually, when first putting together the figure, there are instructions for adding, if I can get that to focus, adding the magazines under the back skirt there. So just, again, a cool little functiony gimmick thing that this has going on. Now this removable shield here, it has a swivel on here on the end. That's for some more articulation but yeah, this is actually where you plug it in. It's nice that you can actually take off this additional piece here because that just adds some added armor to this. But yeah, here it is with the gun, looking good. I guess that's where that interesting swivel comes in. Or yeah, you can have them hold it like that. Yeah, it looks cool. Also comes with some dynamic hands right there, 2 trigger finger hands, and a closed fist. I always love the closed fists. Now, what's interesting from this is we're not getting any beam saber holding hands because that's all done with the shield, beam saber shield it has. You know, these later mobile suits have all the weapons already like built in all over it, so there's not much in terms of gimmicks for them to hold. And the fixed flight unit. This thing is a beast. You know, this to me is like prime Gundam. I love having this stuff on display because this is like, and I don't know if this opinion is shared by everyone, but these designs are just so out there and crazy, yet they keep that sort of consistent Gundam aesthetic. We see that with the way the colors are on this and everything. Even there's this callback to the white base when I look at the top of this fixed flight unit. But, I mean, there's so much going on with this thing. There are pieces I had to put together. There's pieces I'm going to be taking apart in order to attach it to the Odysseus. We have this gigantic tail back here that you see flapping around when you're watching the movie. There's articulation here. But you know what? It's that time. I'm going to try to put it all together for the first time. All right, and there we go. You know, I'm not even sure how I need to hold this thing. It's just so crazy. But this transformation was not bad. It was actually really easy. It was a little difficult for me for the first time trying to figure out what it was telling me to do. But you know what? Subsequent transformations are going to take less than 10 minutes, maybe even less than 5 minutes. It's really not bad at all, and it's really cool. And there's actually another step here I can do with this. All right, and this is it in its flight mode. It's kind of hard to fit here. You know, the instructions are very vague, and that's kind of like that with a lot of this Bandai Robot Spirit stuff. Oh god, there we go. Yeah, that's gonna fall easily. So yeah, with the weight of this thing, it will fall over even if the peg is in the correct position. So that's something to keep in mind. What's interesting though is this up here. This sort of has its own articulation. You pull it out actually when you have it in this flight mode. That's different from the previous, or so I think. I'll have to get a wide range shot to kind of show off what this looks like. It is pretty cool, although I am concerned about the way it stands. I'll have to manipulate the stand in a certain way for that. All right, according to the instructions, it's telling me to put this peg stand holder thingy in a part back here. There is one that's closer there. I don't know if I can get that in focus, but that just seems even scarier. Let's just yeah, try this again. I'm going to go with a big negative on that. The weight, the front end weight of this cannot support that there. So I'm actually surprised it's like that. I'm going to try changing this up. And something I've noticed with this stand, and we see these with a lot of different Robot Spirits, is it doesn't matter if you have the tab in or not. With just enough pressure, it is going to move regardless. And so I think with all that weight on there, it's still going to move it. I don't know what I'm going to do. Yeah, I got it on there again, but look, it even locked, it it wants to move. I have to tab in. The front weight just pulls it down. So I'm gonna assume it's a design flaw only because this is the exact same stand we see with metal robot spirits, other robot spirits that are lighter. And this is just a big, chunky, heavy, different type of beast. I'm probably not gonna have it in a stand like this. I'll probably have it in its like standing pose. But to try to get a good shot of it, because I'm gonna have to transform it to pose it, here it is, and it's more of its flight mode when it's flying around, where its tail can flap around and while it's flying, which is a really cool little addition, although I won't be using it that much because I'm not going to have it posed that way. And so there we have it. Wow, that seemed like a workout. But no, actually, this thing is really awesome. For the price that it goes for, this is like the premium of the premium without it having the metal. That would actually make it even more premium. But just the feel of it, the detail, the decals all over it. The transformation process is actually really easy, especially once you do it for the first time. Just the way it looks is badass, and I love the feel. These Katoki signature, what do they go? Ka's signature, version Katoki. The Ka's signature line is just so nice. They have this matte finish to it that is just better than any Gunpla that you have fully customized. It just feels so good. And the different shades of white on here and all the other details just make this just an awesome piece to have. My only complaint is that you cannot get it in its final flight form and to pose without the stand falling. And you know what? That's just something I've noticed with these robot spirits is sometimes these stands they come with are just kind of dumb. I don't know what the deal is with them. Some of them just don't work. And don't just take it from me, from our mod Ian. He warned me about that with the Wing Zero metal robot spirits. I got that, and yeah, it just does not stay on its stand. It's weird how they kind of skimp on the stands, even though that's what keeps them stable. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think. Is this something you would grab? Are you even into these designs? I know some people complain about these Hathaway mobile suit designs, but I just think they are just top tier, all out, super badass. And the designer of these did that Zeo Rhymer show I was talking about. Check that out. That's a really cool anime too. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. We'll talk later.